Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session for today on starting to save early. Um, and for those that are watching online, we would like to welcome you to our session this afternoon. And we're hoping that the session is going to be a life changer, especially for those that have been planning to save, or those that have been juggling the savings and debt issues around. So today's session of our Wealth Builder series is called Saving Early, and so that you can improve your financial freedom. So why does it matter? Some of the things that we'll be dealing with this afternoon is, why does it matter for you to save or for you to invest? And one big question that we'd like to deal with this afternoon is, can I save whilst I have debt? I think a lot of us are struggling with this, and today we are going to give practical strategies on how to deal with this. Your facilitator this afternoon is Ntabiseng Maidi. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I'm a holder of an LLB. I'm a financial advisor as well. So let's start with some of the statistics that are coming out. We've got ASISA, who is the Association for Savings and Investments, who are saying that, who did a poll, and they found that as of last year, September, they found that the gross savings rate in South Africa is sitting at 13.7%. That is a bit worrying. And we always hear that only 6% of the population is going to retire comfortably. And it's due to the fact that we are not instilling the discipline of saving. So this is quite worrying, as there is a huge burden on the dependency on social welfare. So, and some people end up not being able to retire at the age of retirement because they did not provide for themselves whilst they had time. So there is a guy whom we know, who spoke about compound interest, why you need to start saving early. Albert Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and he who understands it ends it, and who doesn't understand pays it. So and it is important that you start doing your savings whilst you can, because previously the life expectancy was at around 60%, and over the years the life expectancy moved to 80, but there's predictions that life expectancy is going to go to 100 years old. One example is my dad retired at 65, and at 60, and now he's 89. He's actually turning 90 this year. So he actually went through another lifetime depending on his pension. And thanks to his good financial skills, he actually managed to save for those years, and he's catering for his own investment. So I would like us to look at a few things. This is just one example of the impact of starting to save early. This is more to people who are still in the youth stages. And let's take investor number one, who is 25 years old, and he is planning to retire when they are 60, and they started investing 500 rands. So at the time that they reach 80, assuming that the interest or the growth in their investment or returns on their investment is at 8% per annum, The actual cash that he would have invested would be 210,000 without taking into account the time value of money. It's going to be 210,000 rands. But at the end of year 60, he's gonna have 1,033,000 rands. So and this person has had 35 years of investing. Then you get investor number two. Investor number two is enjoying life and is like, no, I'll start investing when I'm 35. Then they start investing at 35. However, they only have 25 years to invest. At the rate of return of 8%, they only invested actual cash of 150. However, the growth of their investments will be 438,000 rands. You can see the difference there because the person has actually lost some time. Then the investor number C comes back and say, yo, I want to catch up and be like investor number A. Then it means he actually has to double their investment because they decided to start early when they are 35. For them to reach almost the same level as investor number A, they actually have to double their investment. If they double their investment, they can only do one. The actual cash invested is much higher than what investor A would have invested. So they've invested 354,000 rands. And at the end of year 60, their investment would be 1,035,000 rands. Then we have investor number D. Investor number D starts saving at 25. However, life happens when they turn 35. They get married, they've got a child, they lose their job, or anything can happen. At that stage, they've only invested 60,000 rands in the last 10 years, which is 6,000 rands per annum. However, if they stop investing when they turn 35, and they would have just invested 60,000, their funds are still going to continue to grow and they'll get almost 600,000 when they reach 65. So here you can actually see the difference in terms of the returns that one can get when they start investing early and when you start late in investing. So there is this concept where it says time in the market beats timing the market. There's people who say, oh, I'll invest when the market has started turning. No, we invest when the best time for you to invest was yesterday. So or saving was yesterday. So you need to start saving so that you can go through the market movements. So if you don't understand this spreadsheet or this demonstration, you are most welcome to contact us and we will assist you just to give you to break it down. And these numbers gets better when you look at specific investments, those that are yielding more than 8%, because there are those that are yielding double digits. So here there is this concept that, and this again was invented by Albert Einstein, or the power of 72, where he says for you to double your investment or savings, it will take you 72. It will take you a number of years. So the power of 72 works like this. Say you save your money in a bank account where they give you interest of 5% per annum. I've confirmed this with one of the banks, and if you invest between 0 and 50,000, they will give you a return of 5% per annum. That if you were to keep your investment of 50,000, for you to have 100,000, it means you must keep that money in the bank for 14 years and 4 months in the bank. That's how much you can get for a deposit in a bank. Then we have got an investment in or a savings in or that yields 8%. One good example here is government bonds, where the return is about 8%. For you to, if you were to invest the money, keep it there, don't touch it, it will take you 9 years to actually double your funds. If your interest rate is or the return is 10%, it's going to take you 7 years, 2 months to actually double your funds. Then if you go for a much higher return of 12%, then it's going to take you 6 years. One good example, I'm not sure if you are able to see this graph. This graph is busy going up, and then at some point it went down, goes up, down, and that. That's what the market does in most cases, that the market will continuously go up and down, but eventually there's going to be a straight line that goes from the bottom going up. So meaning your investment must always go up, or your savings must go up. So then let's look at good debt. Some people will say, but we actually need debt. Some would say, no, I don't need debt. There's a difference between good debt and bad debt. I'll start with bad debt. Bad debt is the likes of clothing accounts or accounts where you buy food with your credit card, or you've got a loans that you cannot even indicate what you did with the funds. But then on the other hand, we have got good debts, where it allows you, gives you the opportunity to acquire especially income producing assets. Say you want to buy a tractor for your business. That is good debt because you are acquiring that, and it's actually going to give you some income for you to be able to pay it. Some would say a bond for a house is good debt. Some would say it's bad debt. For someone who knows how to manage their finances, having a bond for a property is a good debt, provided you can use that to your advantage. So those are the differences between good debt and bad debt. But what do you need to do to consider if this is good debt or not good debt? The first thing is to look at, my apologies, the first thing that you need to look at is you need to look at the high interest rate, the high interest debt, because high interest debt actually drains your disposable income. One example, some loans can charge as much as 27%. Some credit cards can charge as much as 20%. So that is bad debt because it's draining the availability of your disposable income to invest in income producing assets. The next thing is, what also happens is that the debt repayments, as I indicated, the debt repayments reduces the availability of your funds that you would have actually used to do the investment, especially where the interest rate is quite high. So you will end up not having any savings if you are taking debt that has got quite high interest. The other one is I'm not sure of those that have been through very bad debt situations, that you end up taking wrong financial decisions because you are emotionally stressed by the debt that you have. That someone says to you, "Oh, there's someone who's giving 20 loans that you get approved within 24 hours." Then you go, you sign, only to find that the interest rate on that thing is about 27%, because you are not emotionally okay, that you are stressing about your debt. Lastly is too much debt can actually affect your credit score, and the ability for you to get better financial products. Better financial products, I'm referring to you accessing a bond that you can take to buy an income producing asset. When you are highly indebted, let's say you want to buy a property where you can derive rental income for it. Well, if your credit score is bad, you are not going to be in a position to access the financial assistance. So let's look at the strategies to balance the repayment of debts and saving. So you will see here I'm talking about two methods that you can use. But the first thing that you need to do is you need to prioritize your high interest debt, or you need to use a debt snowball or an avalanche method or a velocity method. In most instances, advisors will tell you about the debt snowball or the avalanche, but there is a velocity method that you can actually use, and it has actually proven to yield results. I'll talk about that at the end of this slide. So let's look at a snowball, the snowball effect, where you focus on the debt size. You take the biggest debt and you pay it off. Once you are finished paying that big debt, you go to the next big one, just like that. But when you look at an avalanche method, you go and you pay the small one or the one with a high interest, and then when you're finished paying the one with the high interest, you go to the next one, just like that, until you have actually exhausted all of your debt. Then what happens is that, let's say you can't do any of the two. You have got a credit card. So now this is the velocity method. You have got a credit card that has got a limit of about 80,000. What you do is you don't reuse the credit that you have. You accumulate it, or you pay it off. And usually when you pay it off, instead of having your salary into your bank account, you just take your full salary, you pay it into, you deposit it into your credit card account. It reduces the number of days that you are with debt, meaning your interest payment on your credit card is low. Just be also mindful that you have got some credit cards, they give you 55 days to settle the debt. So if you do that on a monthly basis, so you can go for almost 30 days without incurring interest, because you would have paid that credit card. So once you have fully paid your credit card, you take that full amount of credit that you have available, you actually reduce one of your debts, especially your bond. So then you inform your banker that you have actually paid a lump sum. Can they reduce your capital amount? So those are the three methods that you can use. The other one is, you can still continue to pay another strategy is you continue to pay the minimum installments that you need to pay. However, the extra amount that you have, you put it into your investment. Say you have started with your biggest debt, you have paid it. So you make that amount available and you redirect that money into your savings. So in that way, you can build what we call an emergency fund as one of the goals. And then the other thing is, do not be scared to look for lower interest rates, because sometimes we just get so emotionally drained or attached to actually getting a loan or debt without looking at the interest rate. So you can shop around for different interest rates when you want to take on debt. So that is number one. That is the strategies to balance the repayment of debt and savings. The other one is, last year in September, there was this thing of the two-pot system, whereby we were allowed, as investors, we were allowed to take some money from our retirement planning or retirement annuities. You can use that as well as a strategy for your savings component. But the nice thing is with this one is, if you don't need the money, the funds are still growing at a much higher rate because they would have been invested at the same rate as the other ones for the vested funds as well as the retirement portion. So you can, at first, you can utilize that as part of your creating your emergency fund. But if you don't need it, you just leave it there so that it grows at a much higher rate. The other one is to also contribute the most minimum into your tax-free savings account. I usually tell some of my clients who will say, but I don't have money to go and save or to do the tax-free account of 500 rands. And the first thing that we do is we look at your bank statement. Bank statement, what we look for is how many times do you eat out? The second one is subscriptions. How many subscriptions do you have? The issue with subscriptions most of the time is that you take the subscription for Prime TV, and then you also take another one for Netflix, and then another one for DSTV. Then you decide that, I don't want to watch Prime. You forget to cancel the Prime one. And then it so happens that 6 months down the line, you say, oh, I forgot, or just the process of canceling the subscription is just too long. So when you add all those amounts, I am definitely sure you're going to have a spare 500 rands for you to save. So there is this thing from the psychology of money, which says your values determine your savings attitude or your investment attitude. If you as an individual, your values or you like entertainment a lot, obviously saving is going to be second or third in your priority list because you would have focused on other things. So you can actually start off by looking at your cash flows. The other one is to say, let me automate my savings contributions. And one great example is the tax-free savings account and then your retirement annuity. You can request your employer to actually increase your RA contribution if you feel that you cannot do it on your own. So you can actually do that. But so when, just as a reminder, if you're going to be using your RA portion of your investment, be reminded that you are going to be taxed on the withdrawal, and it's at your progressive tax rate when you do that withdrawal. So look at alternative strategies that you can use. Actually, let's talk about them in terms of how you can actually save. The first, this one is quite easy. I'm yet to find someone who says the tax-free savings account doesn't work for them. Who doesn't want to have a tax-free savings account? Because any growth in the tax saving TFSA does not attract tax. There's no capital gains tax. There's no, like, it's just free money that you are going to get. I've spoken about retirement annuities. You can also get unit trusts through different asset managers. You can have ETFs. Some of the well-known ETFs are the Cetrix and the Vanguard 500. So there's different ETFs that you can use. You can also use the money market. The disadvantage with money market is that the interest that you are getting, as I've indicated in the slide, is that you'll end up getting only 5%. Whilst if you were in unit trust or ETFs, you can get anything above 10%. So that is another option where you put your money into money markets, fixed deposits as well, and what we have endowment policies. And an endowment policy is also one of the great investment vehicle or savings vehicle, where if you want to do something in 5 years, you can deposit the money into the endowment policy, and after 5 years, that money would have grown to a certain extent. And here as well is the funds, or the when you liquidate your investment, it's going to be after tax. So there's quite a lot of benefits in utilizing some of the products that I've indicated there. Where do you access all of these products? You have got banks, you have got asset managers. You can approach your financial advisor to actually help you with any of those strategies to help you start your savings journey. Um, how do you start? A person would say, ah, like my son who started working at the beginning of February would say, but mom, how do I start? With him, he's quite lucky. He has never had an income in his life. He's going to have an income. And a good principle is to say, let me use what is called paying myself first. And paying myself first is where, after you have received your salary, you take out your savings and your return, your investments. That is going to be that 20% where you use the 5 50 30 rule of saving or of investing or of managing your funds. So the 20%, the 20 goes to paying yourself first, which is the investment, which is the savings. The 30% is more the wants and that, and then the 50% is more the necessities. Then the next thing that you do is you create an emergency fund. Emergency fund, you tell yourself, if I want to have 10,000, can I do 10,000 in the next 5 or 6 months? You put that aside, and then you start another process. Importantly, you need to have SMART goals. And we all know what the SMART means. So those are some of the strategies that you can use in terms of for savings purposes. So I thought I've got, yes, I want to come here to the slide just to indicate the 50-20-30 rule, where the 50 is things that you need, and there should be a difference. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the entertainment part. Entertainment is not a need. You can switch off your TV for a while or on certain days because it's not a need. So 50% of your living expenses must go to your needs. Then the 30% is your wants. This thing you can live without them. Some of them you can live without them. I've got a friend who will tell me, saying, I can't live without traveling. Those are her values. So, and some would say, I can't live without going to the gym. Those are their values. However, when you look at generally, 30% of your budgeting must go to your wants, and lastly, 20%, that's where you pay yourself first. It goes to your financial goals. So that is the concept that you use. And how do you actually set those smart goals? Or yes, how do you set those smart goals? First of all, you need to understand, we need to consider what are your short-term goals, what are your medium-term goals, and what are your long-term goals. Short-term goals are with this, anything that you're going to do within the next 2 years. Medium-term goals between 2 years and 5 years. Long-term, anything over 5 years. Example, I want to buy a car within the next 2 years, so it's going to come into my short-term goal. Or I want to travel. Medium term, I'm turning 55 in the next 3 years, and I want to have a nice party, so I'm going to save for my medium term goals. Long term, we have got a child that needs to go to university in 15 years, so that's where you go, you have got long term. And some of the instruments that you can use for the different goals that you have is savings account. Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of much return in a savings account. Money market account, that as well, the returns are not normally that good. Call account as well, unless if you have put away a huge deposit. Notice deposits as well, and stock fails. Those you can use for short term. There, I would say the returns that you'll get are far less than the 6% or so. Then you come to your medium term, where you can either use your tax-free savings account, unit trust, retail bonds, and I spoke about the endowments. And lastly, for long term, you can also still use the retirement funds, retirement annuities, pension, provident fund, preservation fund, and even some of the tax-free savings accounts. You can actually use them, and the endowment account. You can also use that. So always consider the period, in terms of how long do you need to actually be invested. What are really the benefits? And I suppose I can talk about some of these things, but we know them. And the one that is quite important is the tax deductibility and the tax savings on some of them. Let's go back to this part. When you save or when you invest using your retirement annuity, you have got this pot, which is the 1/3, which is a savings component. Say you don't take it anytime now, but you take it in the future. There could be, first of all, for cash flow planning, the amount that you invest into your pension is tax deductible now. However, let's say you want to take out the money in 5 years, you are only going to be taxed on it in 5 years. So there, the timing of the when the money goes in and when the money comes out can give you an advantage for tax purposes. The other one is the tax saving on the tax-free account, where you do not pay any tax on the growth in the tax-free account. The other one is to Another benefit is to capitalize on the investment opportunities. One example is 2009 or 2007, 8, 9. I was belonging to a stock fair, and it was a group of ladies, and we were saving the money, and boom, MTN comes out. They say they've got a BEE empowerment or an empowerment transaction that they're actually going to do, and they are calling upon stock firms, individual companies, to acquire shares in the company. What we did is we took the funds that we had saved as a stock fair. We went and bought in shares in MTN. So can you see some of the savings that we did um, have actually assisted us in achieving our goal of owning an asset. So you can save, then acquire an asset. You can actually reduce stress by saving, yeah, financial security and wealth accumulation. But the ones that I think for me they were quite outstanding was the ability to capitalize on investment opportunities and the deductibility of the tax. So you are new in getting an income, and you have never saved before. You don't know how to do it. So let's give you steps. Probably you don't know how to do it. Steps is, remember your savings goals, your short, medium, and long-term goals. The next one is to utilize the budgeting principles of 50, 30, 20. The next one is try to build an emergency fund that can and in building the emergency fund, make sure that you use correct instrument. Because it doesn't help for you to invest in a money market or in a savings account where you are not actually getting any returns. Utilize the right instrument. The next one you can for to create that discipline for you to save, do debit orders, but not a debit order into that account, because I see a lot of banks now, they have introduced this thing where you can have the main account and other savings accounts underneath. And on a daily basis, when you open your app, you can actually see what's in those. Look at something where you either disable you seeing those, or you get an account outside of your banking, or outside of your bank, either another bank or that, but you shouldn't see it on a regular basis, because once you see the money, you see shoes you want to buy. So automate your savings. Next one, I've spoken about reducing your debt strategically. And let me just probably for those that can actually send a yes or a no through the chat, does anyone remember this card? I think I saw it. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I can share the screen, but there is this thing called this card. Let me just show you. Does anyone remember this card? I consider the paying of debt and you utilizing the debt again to be this card that you get Monopoly, where you pay off your debt and you say, yeah, I've paid off my debt. It's then that I will save. Unfortunately, that is a go to jail for free card once you start utilizing that debt. So the best thing is to do them concurrently. Pay your debt, whilst you're actually saving, so that you don't find yourself going to jail for free by having credit that is just available for you and not knowing how to use it. So going back to our presentation, so that is that. The next thing is, sorry, I've gone back too many times. Yeah, so I've spoken about looking at the right savings vehicle, and I've given you all of that. And on a regular basis, on an annual basis, or on a 6 monthly basis, review your savings and adjust them accordingly. Because in life, certain things changes, and you actually want to take advantage of that. Um, so I've spoken about the 50-20-30 rule. Try it, especially if you have just started working or you're young or you want to implement this for your family. Start with that to see if it doesn't work. And that is the end of our presentation for today. And here we have got a QR code. For those that would like to get in touch with myself or my company in terms of assisting you to start your tax-free savings account, this is actually a good time, because from the 1st of March, you can actually start doing the investment. And we can probably even create some form of a support group or support structure where we say, let's start with 500 on a monthly basis. By the end of the year, we will be sitting at 6,000 rands. If you want to do more than the 500, you are most welcome. But just get in touch with me. Here is a QR code, and I will send you, myself or Joy, will send you a form that you can complete, and we can start you on the journey of saving. Don't forget tax deductibility, taking advantage of the tax aspects in your savings process, and let's make this work. And I hope that you have enjoyed the session today. If there is any questions, you are most welcome to send your questions. And hoping to see you at our next session, where we will be tackling another form of creating wealth. And if you are a regular for our Wealth Builder series, just send us a comment in terms of what else do you want us to talk about? What would be of interest for you for us to touch on? And I would like to thank everyone and see you next month for our next session. Enjoy your afternoon and happy saving. Cheers, bye.